All right, we want to thank our producer, the Bambino, for getting us up and running here. Samsung Galaxy 9 phone available at AT&T store near you. And if you're a fan of DirecTV, and obviously a lot of people are, there's a lot of good stuff later today. Of course, you can get caught up on everything that's happened in the World Cup. Observations about the World Cup, Greg Diolis.
Shame that Germany is out. The reigning champions have been booted out, and then you get the world's two best players, Ronaldo and Messi, get knocked out. It doesn't leave much for the novice to look forward to, but we'll be tuning in, and we'll catch something this week that'll make it more interesting.
You know, I was talking about England, and obviously Harry Kane, a great player, already had a hat trick in one match. Neymar, who's an exceptional player for Brazil, and I can't help but become a fan of Brazil. Obviously, going back to my days watching Pele. Yeah, so, you know, and looking at all the posts from Diego Maradona, the former great player for Argentina, there's still James Rodriguez and others, and obviously Spain and Russia playing today. So, folks, this is going to be an incredible home stretch for the World Cup. So I hope that you tune into FS1, get that DirecTV or Comcast, whatever you do, and enjoy the festivities. Now, a lot of folks are going to be watching the NFL Network in the next couple of weeks because they're headed to camp. We talked a lot today to Ted Arnott about the Steelers, and the big story, I still believe, is Mason Rudolph. He had some thoughts saying that this kid's still not ready. I think he's good enough right now to be number 2 in the depth charts. Obviously, I'm not the coach. I don't make those decisions. But I think this is going to give the Steelers a chance to have a very small speed bump in the transition, not hopefully for years, but when Ben decides to retire, I think he will keep them relevant. Mason Rudolph, I think he's a prototype. He's thick, he's strong, he's tall. He's a prototypical pocket drop back passer who's got a rifle arm, and I think they're a much better football team with him as their backup right now, 3 weeks before camp, than Landry Jones.
Physical skills, without a question, he's a better quarterback than Landry Jones. The question is he going to be able to get caught up to the Steelers' offense, the speed of the game, and being able to read defenses fast enough to be a guy that you can plug in and play? I think that's going to happen as the season wears on. I think going into the season is going to be Landry Jones, particularly to finish up a game. It's always going to be Landry Jones because he's going to be more involved in the game planning. But if you need to go and start a game from scratch, they're going to probably try to get the new kid, Rudolph, coached up good enough to get him ready to go.
All right, Le'Veon Bell, franchise tags July 16th. We'll see if it happens again. A lot of folks, and I'm sure even his agent, are going, look, give or take a few 100,000 or $1 million, take the deal. I think the Steelers, my opinion, have probably been more than generous. So what's the holdup and why has it gotten to this point?
It's really, you know, kind of a hard from the outside to know exactly what all the intricacies are, whether the Steelers are putting contingencies on the guaranteed portion of the contract because he is a guy who has had some issues in the past that have led to suspensions, and in most cases, the boilerplate language in a contract with guarantees is if you get suspended, then all those guarantees go away. The money doesn't go away, but you lose the guarantees, and that's probably one of the things that's holding this deal up is he wants a guarantee, as my mentor Ralph Sindrich used to say, to me, a guarantee is a guarantee just as a rose is a rose. So if your money is guaranteed, it's supposed to all come to you. And if they have those contingencies on it, that's going to be one of the major stumbling blocks. Apparently his number is an APY, annual per year, of $17 million. That's way too high. I don't think the Steelers are going to get to that number, but if they can work the language out, maybe he can come down off of his number.
All right, the real reason I wanted to do the show after the show, Antonio Brown, recently the NFL Network top 5 receivers in the league. He was number 1, rightfully so. You know, for those of us who like boxing, 28 years of age, a heavyweight pretty much is reaching his prime. Is he in his prime now? And if he is, how much longer do you think he will be in his prime?
I think he's got a pretty good long shelf life. I don't think that's a big issue with this kid who keeps himself in fantastic shape off season and on season and all that good stuff. I don't think that's an issue. You've got a good 5 more years out of this guy without an issue. Receivers can play long into their 30s as opposed to a running back position who, when a running back hits 30, it's downhill from there. Wide receivers tend to have a little bit of longer shelf life.
Listen, Gregory Polanco went 2 for 2. He and Austin Meadows have been really lighting it up against left-handed hitters. Clint Hurdle's even seeing a little light at the end of the tunnel. We've been talking about Polanco as far as his future and a lot of other parts because the trade deadline is here. Question as we say goodbye for the show after the show, Kuhn'S Market Black and Gold Sunday show every week on the radio, 11 a.m. until 1. Buyer, seller, where do you have to be in the standings in the Central Division before you make a decision either way come July 31st?
I'm not as concerned with the Central Division as I am with the wild card spot. If they're within 6 games, half dozen games of the wild card at the trading deadline, I'm still wanting to add to this roster and maybe get something going. They got to teach this Polanco guy to run the bases. Teach him some of the cardinal rules of baseball. You're on third base. There's less than 2 outs. The ball goes up in the air. Get your rear end back on the base, for goodness sake.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, he is the counselor. I am Rob Pratt, and he's here always counseling me every week because we know I need help. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay with us because we'll be checking in and out throughout the week. And don't forget, tomorrow I'm in for the incredible talent of Mike Pintek, filling in noon to 3 right here at the Pioneer Broadcasting Station of America, Kdka Radio. Good afternoon.